Hola amigos, welcome to the waxing crescent flow. So this is the second phase of the moon where we start seeing a little crack or a slither of moon in the night sky. For this class, I recommend bringing a couple of blocks, but if you don't have any, then get creative. You can use a couple of hardback books or even a couple of stools, anything to give yourself a little bit of extra space, which is the idea of today's class. We're creating space for ourselves. And if you can't think of anything, don't worry, you can still take the class without the blocks. So get ready and I'll see you in a moment. Right, we are meeting in a child's pose today. So if you have a couple of blocks, then I have some options for you. You might want to open out your legs and place a block in between where your ankles are and sit your hips onto the block. And if you have another one, then you can also bring it forwards and place your forehead onto the edge of the block. So we're all meeting in some variation of child's pose, bringing our arms alongside the body, palms facing up. So we're getting very small in this initial seed-like posture. Taking a deep breath in. And everyone, open mouth, exhale out. Seal your lips, and we'll begin connecting to our Ujjayi breath in and out through the nose. If you remember from the last class, the Ujjayi breath is a gentle constriction in the back of the throat. So it produces a really nice oceanic sounding breath. Like everything, the Ujjayi breath is a practice in itself. So we'll often find ourselves forgetting about it or just losing connection with it. And the idea is just to remind ourselves when we do that to jump back in. And that just reinforces and strengthens that pattern in the brain and strengthens the practice. So this phase of the moon is waxing crescent. We begin to start seeing a slither of the moon appearing in the sky. And it's a time to start to take the first steps towards our intention. Getting what is in our heads and in our hearts out to materialize it. If you are a visual person, maybe you like to doodle, sketch or draw. If it's something you need to express or communicate, maybe just sing. Sing badly, sing loudly. If it's something more physical, something you need to move, then you're in the right place. Start to slowly open the eyes and bring the hands forwards. Press into the hands and lift the chest up. Walk your hands over towards the right. Gripping the ground with your hands, press into the left hand, pull the left hip back and pull with the right hand as well. And lower the chest down. So breathing all the way along the left side as we compress the right. One more breath cycle. Then lifting up the chest, walking our hands over towards the left. Gripping the ground, pressing into the right hand, pulling the right hip back and pulling the left hand. Lowering the chest down, 2 breath cycles. Then walking our hands back through center as we inhale. As you exhale, slide the left hand underneath and through, coming into a twist, maybe resting our left temple onto the block if you have one. Another breath. Relaxing the face, relaxing the jaw, Inhale, come back through. And then as you exhale, thread the right hand underneath and through, resting that left side, resting the right side, rather, down towards the mat. Again, softening the face and the jaw, letting go of any tension around that area. Let's come back through, bringing our hands forwards, lifting the hips away from the heels. You might want to move your blocks out the way. Let's bring them in front. And then we're breaking out of that shell, and stirring up some energy, bringing the knees wide, nearly as wide as the mat, and the big toes to touch, shifting forwards. As you exhale, let's bring the shoulders and hips round to the right and back down towards an extended child's pose. As you inhale, let's roll over towards the left and forwards. Exhale, rounding back and down. Just continuing in this fashion, linking breath with movement. So inhaling as we're coming up, and then exhaling, coming round and down. So we're moving in a clockwise direction, getting into the hips, getting into the shoulders, pressing the tops of the feet into the ground. And we're going to do about 2 more of these before we switch to the other side. So make it slow and smooth as we begin to reverse. Inhale, coming round to the right and up. Exhale, round to the left and down. So you know the drill. We can keep going in this fashion for a few cycles. So the first steps of anything is usually the hardest, but you've made it onto the mat. So that's the first step. So you're technically on your maybe second or third now. So maybe it wasn't so hard after all. So you can linger anywhere that you feel like you'd like to explore that feels particularly tight. And then keep continuing with these cycles. We'll do 1 more. And inhale, round to the right and up. Exhale, round to the left and down. Coming through center, shoulders over wrists, then bring our knees underneath our hips. Taking a peek back, so our shins are parallel to the ground. Inhaling, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, gazing forwards into our cow. As you exhale, chin towards chest, rounding the spine, lowering the tailbone down. Inhale into our cat, dropping the belly, lifting the chin. Exhale, chin towards chest, belly button in. And then we come into a neutral tabletop position. Let's roll our shoulders over our wrists in a couple of circles, warming up the hands, warming up the fingers. Remaining connected with our Ujjayi breath. And then reversing the circles of the shoulders. And bringing more engagement into the finger pads. So pressing them into the ground, pressing the knuckles into the ground as well. Very nice. Let's bring our shoulders over our wrists and curl the back toes under. Bring a little bit of fire, some heat into our practice. Pressing into the hands, we'll start to lift the knees up about 1 inch or 2. So the belly button comes in towards the spine. We're gazing down or forwards, stable or fixed gaze. Starting to feel the heat a little bit more of a shake. If you smile, that makes it a little bit easier to get through. Pressing into the hands, the space between the shoulder blades, feel that lift away from the ground. So there's a lifting sensation here. Let's do this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice. Let's lower the knees down, sit back onto the heels, just roll out our wrists a little bit. Roll in the other direction. and then we'll come forwards again. So planting the hands down, shoulders over wrists, extend both legs out into a plank position, pressing into the hands or turn the fingertips or 10 knuckles. Bend the knees as you send the hips high and back into a downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet when you get there, pressing into the hands so we lift the forearms away, gazing between, enjoying any pops and cracks that happen. So we're lifting up our hips towards the sky. Heels don't need to come or make contact with the ground, but they're going into that direction. We're hiding the heels behind the toes. And when you do so, you might notice the thighs turn in towards each other and back. So that's an internal rotation there. On your next inhale, let's press into the feet, lift the hips up, gazing forwards as we shift over back into our plank position. Very nice. Strong arms here. As you exhale, bend the knees, send the hips back and up into our downward facing dog. So a couple more of these down dog ripples. Inhaling, rippling forwards, shoulders over wrists. And then as you exhale, bending the knees, sending the hips back and up, downward facing dog. I like to think of these as a whole body cat-cow. Inhaling, rippling up and over, gazing forwards or in between the hands. As you exhale, sending the hips back and up, downward facing dog. Very nice. Take a breath here in a static down dog. Exhale. Pressing into the hands as we inhale, lift the right leg up towards the sky. As you exhale, flex the foot, bend the knee, and open out the hip. So we're lifting the right knee up towards the sky. Taking a few breaths to make some circles of the hips in one direction. This can be quite intense as your hands are receiving a lot of weight. So if you need to take a break, take a break. Reverse the direction of the circles. We'll be out of this in a moment, don't worry. Take a deep breath in. Let's even out the hips, so the hips are facing down, toes are pointing down. Let gaze forwards as you exhale, bring the knee towards your chest, and then flex that foot and plant it onto the outside of the right hand. You might need to use your hands or your feet to shimmy it forwards. And if you've got blocks, then you can bring them underneath your shoulders to give yourself a little bit of extra space. Back foot is engaged, so we're lifting the back leg from the back of the thigh. And then we're going to be rolling our hips either forward and back or side to side or in a nice little circle. Flex your right foot, so we're protecting the knee joint here. Just settling into this lizard lunge. Reverse the directions if you did a circle. Otherwise, keep maneuvering your hips around, getting into the hips. It should feel really nice, but also equally intense as well. So you can slow down your movements if you feel the intensity getting a bit too much. All right, let's continue to settle into this lizard lunge. You can stay here, which is perfectly fine, or you can lower your forearms down onto the blocks or onto the ground. Back leg is still lifting up. And we'll take about 3 breaths here, knowing that you can always come out of it if it gets too intense, because this pose does get more intense the more you hold it. But by using the breath, we can send awareness down towards the hips and help relax. Just as we can send awareness down to our muscles to help engage them, we can send awareness down somewhere to relax and help deepen into a pose. Let's take one more breath. Soften the jaw, soften the face. Let's lift up, pressing our hands into the ground or blocks. Bring them out the way. And we're going to shimmy the right foot next to or where the right hand would be. Beginning to create some space on our mat. Press the left hand into the ground as you sweep the right hand up, coming into a low lunge twist. As you exhale, sweep the hands down, forwards. Turn your feet as we're going to be moving towards the back of the mat into a low lunge. Press your right hand into the ground as you inhale, reach the left hand up. Exhale, sweep it forwards to the side. You can even spider finger your hands to support you as you come to the front. Inhale, reaching the right hand up and around. Exhale, coming to the back. Inhale, make it smooth and fluid, creating this giant bubble with your hands and your body. Inhale, right hand up. Exhale, you transition to the back. Right hand down, inhale. Left hand up. Exhale to the front of the mat. Inhale. And then let's plant that right hand down to the ground. Press the hands into the ground as you bring your right foot back, lowering knees and chest and chin. As you inhale, untuck the toes, slither forwards as you come into a cobra, elbows in. Exhale, curl the toes under, lifting up the hips, meeting in our downward facing dog. Taking a breath so we can all reset together, sending awareness all the way up to the hips. And as you exhale, just a little softness in the shoulders. Pressing into your hands as you inhale, lift the left leg up towards the sky. As you exhale, flex that foot, open out the hips. So we're lifting the left knee up towards the sky. Then we're going to make giant circles with the knee, opening out the hip. Still pressing into the hands so they're supporting the upper body. Belly in towards the spine. So our core is helping lift us up, taking some of the weights away from the hands. Let's reverse the circle of the hips. One more time. And then lift the knee up. Straighten out the leg, even out the hips so the hips are facing down towards the ground, toes are facing down, gazing forwards. As you exhale, knee towards chest, shifting forwards, and then planting that left foot onto the outside of the mat. Use your blocks if you need to, or if you have them, slightly flex the left foot, back leg is engaged, so lifting up from the back thigh, and then making circles again. So creating loads of space in our hips, letting any tension release. Shift forwards and back, side to side, up, down, circles, whatever feels good for you. But remember just to flex that front foot so we protect that knee. Knee joints are super spinny to fix. So be cheap and cheerful. Reverse the circles if you made circles. And then we'll settle it into our lizard lunge. So staying here with your hands on the ground and treating each side very differently. So even though you might have lowered your forearms on one side, you might find that staying with your hands up is enough for you. So listen to the body on either side and make sure you're treating it as gently as you would anybody else's hips. Breathing through this, softening jaw, softening the hip. Slow, even, steady breaths. 2 more. One more. All right, let's come out of it. Pressing our hands into the block, moving them out the way if you have them. Shimmying your left foot where your left hand would be. Pressing into your right hand as you sweep the left hand up. Exhale, left hand sweeps forwards, coming round to the side. Right hand down as you inhale, left hand up. Exhale, let's make this giant bubble again. Inhale. Exhale, meander back. Inhale. Exhale, turning the feet as you transition backwards. I'm going to stop cueing the breath and allow you to just create the space according to your own pace, according to your own breath. If the movements feel very familiar now, you can even close your eyes and see and try to visualize what you're doing without any literal visual cues. Using sensations to guide you and maintaining a smooth and deep breath. I'm going to say one more cycle back and one more cycle to the front. So we'll meet at the front. Very nice. Pressing into the hands, left foot meets the right. Lowering knees, chest, chin as you exhale. Inhale, opening the front side of the body, pressing the tops of the feet into the ground. As you exhale, let's meet in downward facing dog. From here, look forwards. We're going to step the right foot onto the outside of the right hand, followed by the left. And lowering our hips down, coming into a Malasana Squat. So I'm going to turn to face you. I've got quite open hips, so I'm able to sit quite deeply into this. But if you've got blocks, then let's sit onto the blocks at first to give ourselves some of this space that we keep talking about. So here it takes all the engagement out of your lower muscles by sitting into this block, but we're going to be setting up, connecting to our pelvic root block. So bring your hands onto the insides of your elbows onto the insides of your thighs and try to press your palms in towards each other and squeeze the thighs into the elbows and elbows into the thighs. If you don't have a block, you'll just have to work a little bit harder than everyone else for now. And we're connecting to our Mula Bandha, this pelvic root lock. And at first it's quite an abstract concept because it's not somewhere we typically focus or engage on in our day-to-day lives. But when we do engage with it, it definitely changes the practice, creates a nice lifting sensation. When I was in my teacher training, a teacher describes the engagement of this area. For guys, it would be as if you've dropped your balls onto some cold water and it's a gentle squeezing sensation. I can kind of vouch for that and find similarities in that sensation. It's a very subtle sensation there. And for ladies, it would be like trying to grab a grape with your labia. Now, I don't know what that means, but as it's a subtle engagement of that area, where we're not making wine, we're just lifting up. Or maybe a more sensible one would be to engage the areas that you would hold your pee in. So you're a little bit desperate to go to the toilet and you just need to squeeze a little bit of that pelvic floor to hold it in. So wherever you are at with your Malasana, with or without the block, if you have the block, we're going to lift it out of the way and see if we can engage into that area a little bit more. So this is the first step if you've never really engaged in that area to begin engaging. Again, we might not notice or get a feel for it straight away, but it's again sending that awareness down towards that area and feeling or getting a sense of feeling it. And that is the first step to getting there. We're going to suck at it at the first step, but the stakes are pretty low here, aren't they? All right, squeeze your knees or thighs towards your elbows, elbows pressing the thighs out. Take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. And as we're in this kind of cracked seed position, we're going to press into the feet and start to break out, reach the hands up, pressing into the feet, watching out for the knees, keeping the movement slow, reaching up from feet to fingertips. Then we're going to turn the feet in, lowering the hands down into our mountain pose. If you're at the front of the mat, you might want to turn to the side of the mat, opening out the feet so we're in a wide-ish stance. Moving the block out of the way. So in a semi-wide-ish stance, you might want to actually heel-toe your feet closer, again giving yourselves a bit of space. Toes are more pigeon-toed inwards as the heels are slightly more out. Pressing into the three corners of each feet, and we're going to be inhaling, reaching the arms up. As you exhale, keeping a small bend in your knees, we're going to forward fold. Continuing to do this, we're going to inhale, create this giant bubble around us, and exhale through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose. Exhale, draw this bubble down towards the mat as you forward fold. Keeping on like this. Again, creating this space, taking deep breaths in it, making it big, expanding. Try to breathe all along the front. Try to breathe all the way along the side ribs. Try to breathe all the way along the back. You can go faster or slower. I'm going to say we're going to do about 10 more goes or 10 more of these bubbles. So you can increase the pace, can widen your stance or shorten your stance. And you can slow down the pace if you need to. Remember to keep a small bend in your knees, engagement in the feet, softness in the face. And we're taking in as much air as what's leaving our lungs as well. So we're getting rid of anything we don't need and filling it up with fresh, clean oxygen. Let's do one last one together. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling, coming down into our forward fold. Stay in your forward fold as you press into your hands. Heel toe your feet together. And we're going to lower our hips onto our heels and come into a seat. So your shins can be crossed or one foot in front of the other. And we're going to, since we've just created all of this space, we're going to try hone in and create or imagine ourselves creating a small ball. So we're going to bring our ball out to about arm's distance away from us and inhaling, pressing the hands back, opening out the chest, opening out the heart space, maybe lifting up the chin. As you exhale, rounding the spine and bringing that ball in front of us or creating this ball. Inhaling. Exhale out through the mouth. All right, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Keep going. And eventually you might feel as if there is some magnetization as you try to create this ball. And if you can't feel anything, imagine as if there is a ball there. And there is a sense of feeling. And that's how we begin to materialize things from our heart and our head. By visualizing and creating it and bringing the two together. Go faster. A little bit faster. 5, 3, 2, 1. Hold the ball in front of you. Feel it in your hands. Feel that pulsation that's there. Feel it on your fingertips. Feel it on your knuckles. And take a deep breath in, lifting up the chest. And as you exhale, let's bring that ball in towards our chest, hands on our heart. Feel your heart beat. Breathe into your hands, so you're pressing the ribs into your hands. Exhale. Breathe into your side ribs. Exhale. Breathe in along your back. As you exhale, let's lower the hands down, closing the eyes or keeping the eyes closed. Palms facing up. And we're going to be staying in a seated meditation for about a minute or so. So we're letting our movements just echo within the body. Our body goes through so much in a yoga practice. So it learns so much movement flowing in and out of it. The best way to digest all of that movement, to make positive connections, is to rest, to be still, and let our mind be still as well. So how do we do that? We use the breath. So we're no longer controlling the breath. We let that control go and let the breath return to its natural rhythm. And we watch the breath. Our mind no longer needs to process verbal cues, any visual things that we need to take in to adjust our position. We guide it to watch the breath, and that lets it come to its natural resting state. And that way we give our body a chance to heal and consolidate everything that we've taken in. And when we begin to notice our mind wandering, it could be in the form of feeding us random thoughts, we guide our awareness, our attention back to the breath. So any sensations that we might experience along our nose, the gentle lifting and lowering of the chest, and a small expansion and contraction of the belly as this air flows through us. Start to take an inhale through the nose, filling up the chest, filling all the way to the top, Bring your hands together, thumbs at the hearts. And as you exhale, lower your chin towards your chest, bowing down towards your prayer. Slowly opening the eyes, coming back into the room, lowering your hands down. So well done for taking this class. You are already past your first step towards your intention, and we've created all this space. So it's yours to maneuver in, so take advantage of it. Step in it, dance in it, sing in it, do whatever you want in it like nobody's watching. We are going to meet in the next phase, which is called the first quarter. And if you look up, you'll notice that the moon will be halfway to full. And in that class, we will be making sure we're staying on course with our intention, and also we will be raising our energies up, or continuing to raise our energies up. Adios for now. Namaste.